Hello. Looking at the ceiling a little bit there. Wait. Hello. Hi. I'm back. Boy, it's been 2 weeks, hasn't it? Also, thank you for the follow. Follow during the opening ad. Amazing. It must have been a really good ad. Uh, Glad you can be here. It has been 2 weeks since our last stream, due to, unfortunately, an unexpected loss in the family. So I had to leave. I don't know why I'm smirking. I just can't help it. It's not a happy time, but we're back. We're back. Things are doing okay. And I'm not going to dwell on that for the stream. We're going to be happy and positive today. Yeah. So, if you didn't know by the title, it is tax day here in the US. I put off doing my taxes until last night. I did get them done. They're in, they're done, taken care of. I put them off because I was expecting it to either be a headache or I was going to owe something. Turns out it was real easy. Because that was my first year with income from Twitch included, and I was kind of I was like thinking it was going to be complicated. I should have done it earlier, but it's not how my brain works. I put it off. Turns out it was really easy. Everything was perfectly fine. And also, somehow, I'm getting a refund. I thought for sure that there was going to be, I was going to owe something because my withholdings for this were 0. I didn't set withholdings. I was sure I was going to owe something because of that. But I'm getting a refund. Not much. We blew our entire refund on ingredients for today's project. Not really, but kinda. And by that I mean a bag of lentils, 1 tomato, 1 pepper, 1 lime, 1 egg, some butter, some rice, and spices. Let me get the rice. I'm not really following a recipe today. I am going to be making approximately dal, which is like a curried lentil stew. You cook it until the lentils kind of fall apart, and they really thicken up into this thick stuff. Cumin, coriander, our favorite flavor powders. Where's my black pep? Black pep. I'm going to experiment with cinnamon. Squeak. Turmeric, ginger, onion, the garlic from its little garlic house. Our unexpected break means I had to toss. Oop, there's another one actually. I had to toss a few ingredients that I didn't get to and I forgot about because I kind of rushed out, such as this parsnip that I just noticed is in there. It doesn't look very good, does it? Probably still edible, but I'm not going to bother with it at this point. So, because it's so wrinkly. Thankfully, parsnips are also really cheap, so no big loss there. But we lost a couple of things because I ran out the door unexpectedly. So yeah. that's kind of the plan. We're making a lentil stew for rice, and I'm going to throw an egg in it in the way that you do shakshuka. We're not making a tomato-based stew, though. We're definitely not making shakshuka. This tomato needs to be used, though, so I'm going to probably, I think I'm going to just chop it up, and it's going to be like a chunky tomato inclusion. We'll see where we go. Got lime. I could do lemongrass potentially. I have a little bit of a Thai curry paste that might be good. Oh, okay, we can play around. We have enough leeway, let's not drop that egg. We have enough leeway that I can just kind of play around. So let me grab my board, start cutting stuff. Oh, and first things first, let's put some water in the pot. We're gonna make rice the deep water boil method. So we're gonna get some water on the go back there boiling. Isosceles! Howdy, howdy. Hi, hi. Welcome, welcome. Some salted water. We're just getting started, Isosceles. Hi. What's up? How's it going? Happy tax day. I don't know if it's tax day. I don't know what country you're in. It's tax day in the U.S. If you haven't done your taxes, if you're in the U.S. and you haven't done your taxes, stop watching me and do your taxes. They're literally due today. They probably won't take more than like an hour. Even if they should take significantly less than that. But even if you've got some complicated nonsense, they shouldn't take more than an hour. And if they do, then you should have done them sooner. I blame you for this. I blame you, Isosceles, for everyone who didn't do. No, that's. Oh. Anyways. Start by chopping up things I absolutely know are going in, such as an onion. Boy, these little Sabatier knives. Sabatier. Which I thought were just going to be garbage because I got them from a thrift store and they were beat to heck. They've turned out to be quite the nice little knives. Okay. That's one onion. Break out our garlic. Pull away some of the garlic's starting to sprout a little bit. Everybody knows it's spring. They all want to sprout. Just leave that compost bucket open so I can throw stuff. So, how's everyone doing today? this fine tax day. I've had absolutely fabulous weather the past 3 days. I didn't go out and take advantage of it today so much, but I did go out both days over the weekend to take advantage of the gorgeous, gorgeous weather. That guy can go back, drop the lid, go back in his little garlic house, and I will use the power of picking up the whole board to get rid of these paper bits. Nope, and I forgot forgot to take the little nubs off the end, the noses as I like to call them. Birds have been in full swing. I feel like the migration, I don't think it's early, but I think that there's, so far at least, no breaks in it. The birds are starting, and they're finding that the weather is so nice that they're just blasting through. Bookwoman, hi. My lilac bush, the leaves have doubled in size since yesterday. It's just, spring is just gangbusters out there. Get the garlic squished. Immediately put that in. I've got a tub of water in the sink ready to drop stuff off, because I have a pot that I was soaking. So take advantage. We're gonna grind some spices, for which we're going to set that aside. I'm gonna measure them out, but only roughly. Teaspoon of coriander, teaspoon of, doesn't fit, cumin, teaspoon of, this one will fit, black pepper, but I'm going to underfill it a little bit. My turmeric is pre-ground. I'm going to add garlic and onion powders. I'm going to add ginger powder and fresh ginger, but those don't get ground up. We're going to put a little bit of salt in our mortar to help abrade our seeds. And we'll get grinding. I can hear my water coming up back there, so I will need to do this snappy and not lose my seeds into my onions, because then we'll have big chunks. So, coriander seed and black pepper are both very circular. And they really want to roll like bearings, so you can't just start by doing a normal circle grind. You have to do these sort of crunches to get them started. Otherwise, they will just roll. But once you've gotten them started, then they kick in pretty well. Okay. Okay. Those spices. Oh no. I'm going to break this open. It might be nasty on the inside. That doesn't look so good. You have to encourage it by making sound effects. It makes some pretty good sound effects on its own. It goes grind, rumble. My half cup measure is slightly damp, so the rice is going to stick, but that'll be fine. We're not rinsing our rice. It's just going right in as is. Blasphemy. Take that down to an 8.5 because I don't want it to boil over. We're going to boil our rice. Rocker. Hi. Yep. I need to get that stuff. It needs to go in our pan first. I'm watching my rice trying to foam up. Do I want a lid? Do I need a lid? Pick a pan. I think I'm going to need a lid. So this guy, because I believe this is a fitted lid. Yes, okay. Just keep the lid handy. Okay, start with 2 tablespoons of butter in our pan. Because I don't have any ghee, and butter is tasty. We're going to have it on a little bit of a low temp because I don't want to brown my butter too much. And those spices we just ground want to go in and get a little bit toasty with our butter before we put anything else in. So they have to go in first. George, hi. Let's cut into this. Well, let's break this piece of it off. Okay, it looks nice and yellow still on the inside. Parts of it are definitely going to be over the hill, though. And because of that, I would like to properly peel it like I normally don't. Just to make sure I have a nice clean ginger going in there. Yeah, parts of this are going to end up being casualties of my unexpected absence. It's actually looking pretty good. It might just be that the root end, the exposed end where I broke this hand of ginger off from the rest of it. Okay. Cut that like that. Good enough. Here, let me. Oop, that's a question mark. Check out George when you get a chance. He does a lot of cooking too. Okay. Okay. Some ginger. It's going to go in early enough that I think it should soften, even though it's kind of chunky. I'm going to wait for that last little pat of butter to finish melting. We'll throw our spices in. Put my rice away. We don't need the rice anymore. Oh. So, I asked it before, but there's more people here now. So, how's everything going? How's people's tax day? Did you remember it's tax day? Did you do your taxes? If not, get on it real quick. Ghost Assassin, hi. Welcome. That looks pretty melty, so I'm going to add our ginger and our spices that we just fresh ground. Get everybody all buttered up and wait for them to start sizzling. Once we have the sizzle, we can add more things. Have to be a little mindful not to burn. What are we cooking? Well, at the moment in the back, we have rice being cooked in the deep water method. And this is a coriander, cumin, ginger, coarsely chunked ginger, black pepper, and some salt toasting up in butter. The plan is we are making roughly dal, which I thought was potentially a fun theme for tax day because it's very inexpensive. It's inexpensive and tasty because everyone's broke because we just paid our taxes. So that's what's. Oop, George wants a moisten, and I don't even have my glass of water. Getting little bubbles in there, so that's coming along. Moist. You never heard of the deep water method for rice? It's exactly how you would make pasta. Big pot of water, bring it to a boil, dump your rice in. No need to rinse because there's plenty of water right there. And then when it's done, and you can tell it's done by just checking a few grains of rice, you just drain it off. And you've got rice. Also, hi Ryuya. Welcome, welcome. Gosh, everybody's piling in. I did put out a ping in my Discord, which I normally don't do, but I figured because I've had a unexpected long absence, I would give a ping just to alert for the return. Speaking of Discord, let me grab a link. George does the deep water method. You're supposed to, the proper way, if you don't have a rice cooker, is a measured pot with just the right amount of water, and you put a lid on it so that when all the water is absorbed, the rice is done. That's how my dad does rice. When it's essentially what a rice cooker does as well. It's using temperature detectors to determine when the water is boiled away, but it's effectively the same thing. We're throwing in our garlic until fragrant. Oop, my rice is boiling over, but only a very, very, very tiny bit. The rice cooker is the easy way to do it, but I wanted to do it this way today. Oop, we have potentially a little bit of stickage. This method has the advantage of you do not need to rinse your rice. The rice rinses itself in the boiling water. And then to test it, it's done. All you have to do is taste it. Not quite done. All you have to do is taste it. Really, really is that simple. I believe that the deep water rice comes from the northern part of India and probably up into Pakistan, Nepal, sort of thing. Oh, we have an ad. Well, I'm just adding stuff to my pan, so. Put in our onion. Feel free to fact check me on that Northern India thing. Do members of my Discord community have permission to post in a self-promo server to reward active members? No, because I don't have a self-promo channel. My Discord channel is very minimal. Whoop! Wow, that's a. We'll just use that piece. My turmeric is a little bit clumpy. We'll just use that lump that rolled out. You guys are over there on the onions. I'm over here on the other dry spices. Where's my ground ginger? I haven't put a ton of effort into my Discord. It is a place to see photos of the food that I make here. Place for you to share photos of your food with me and anyone else who's on the server, and to get notifications. And then, of course, there's like a little chat hangout area. The huge. I haven't put a ton of effort into it. And that also means it's very lurker friendly, because I have pinged people a total of 2 times ever. One of them was today for the return from the long break, and the other one was to announce the start of the 2-week break and the reasons for it, which if you would like to know, you can read them there. We're not going to go into, I mentioned earlier in the stream, I'm not going to go into great detail beyond that. Justin Wilson homage. Possibly. I know I've heard that. I didn't come up with that on my own. Onions need a little pinch extra salt, I think, because they're not expressing moisture super fast. And also, we don't have any other salt going into anything. None of our ingredients are pre-salted. So I'm not afraid of adding salt at any stage. We have dry ginger, dry turmeric, garlic powder, onion powder to add a little bit more of all of our flavor elements. Let's pop back over here. Want to make sure we don't stick to the bottom of the pan too badly. Those dry powders over there will definitely try to stick to the bottom of the pan. So we want to put them in just before we add our water. The rice is probably just about there. Oop, if I can catch some of it. Rice is done. I specifically picked this pan because this pan has a lid with a drainage grate that is small enough to catch rice. So I don't have to transfer us to a colander. I just have to be a little bit gentle. If I pour too hard, we can lose a few grains of rice around the edge because it's not a perfectly snug seal. And I did lose just a couple, but not too bad, not too bad. And it's just a half cup of rice. We didn't do a giant rice today. And there's our rice. It's nice, it's loose. I'm going to leave it in the pot with the lid on until I need it. That is the advantage, I think, of the... Oh, I said it exactly the way. Okay, well, I probably heard it. I probably heard it down the grapevine, osmosed it somewhere. I think the advantage of doing the deep water rice is that it is very good at keeping the rice grains separate with very little effort. You get nice individual grains of rice. We're adding our dry spices. We're adding some water. Yeah. Thought maybe it would be a little bit warmer. It is not. Okay. Break up our slightly lumpy turmeric. Scraping the bottom. You can't see it, but you can feel it as the spatula kind of scrapes over the little bits that had adhered. And there. We can get them to come loose with just some gentle coaxing. We didn't go so far as to build up a good foam, so I don't need to scrape with my wooden spatula. But if you do have stuff that's really strongly adhered, wooden spatula is your friend. Okay, this guy needs to come up to a boil, and we need to add our lentils. Lentils are the main element here. Okay, which is our brand new bag of lentils that I bought with my tax refund. I nearly burned out my entire tax refund buying one bag of lentils. No, it wasn't quite that. It wasn't quite that bad, but it was surprising that I even got a tax refund. Honestly, I thought I was going to owe. And then they said, "Hey, you're getting something back." I'm like, great. And then it was just a tiny amount, but still better than having to owe. You don't need to soak lentils. You should sort through them and make sure there's no rocks in there. Okay. And now we just need to stew this until the lentils start to break down. I'm going to transfer my remaining lentils into a little container. That was a perfectly sized container. Wow. It's hard to see from above. I'll put the lid on. But that was a perfectly sized container for the remaining lentils. Crazy. They can live there. Okay. I should taste that for spiciness. It needs something. It needs something. All the action's over there right now. It's peppery. It's got flavor. I did say I wanted to experiment with cinnamon. And we're going to do that. No chicken. Hi. I don't want to pronounce that phonetically because I just read it in my head phonetically. Hi, TKL. Welcome, welcome. Nope. This is not chicken curry. There's no chicken in it. We're making dal. And I just threw some cinnamon in there. And I think I'm going to throw a bay leaf in as well if I can. Oh, there they are. Ooh, that's a big bay leaf. Cinnamon and bay leaf are both going to be very easy to fish out. if we keep them whole like this. Now obviously it hasn't had time to wake up the spices and develop yet. So tasting it now is not representative of how it's going to taste later on. But you did. I figured dal was a good choice today because it's delicious and inexpensive. And I am going to be putting, so you're kind of right a second way, because although there's no chicken meat going into it, we are going to be topping it with a chicken egg. So right on the cusp. Let's tidy a few things away. I don't think I need the ginger or the turmeric or the whole peppercorns. Cinnamon's already in there. I'm actually gonna push the cinnamon down and the bay leaf down a little bit to get them really kind of infusing. What else goes into the spice mix here? I didn't have a reference recipe up. We're going with lentils. We have lentils today. And I'm kind of hybridizing it with the concept of shakshuka because I'll be putting an egg right in there the way you would with shakshuka. Because I saw somebody do that and I thought it was a great idea just to get in there. But I'm only doing one egg. Oh, I know why that's not coming up, because the heat is low, because I had the heat low for the butter. That needs to come to a boil, so we're going to turn that up a lot. No wonder that was taking so long. Dal. What did they have in it? They probably have a star anise, right? Chili pepper. I used butter instead of ghee. Onion, garlic, ginger, have that. Curry leaf, don't have that. Don't have curry leaf. Tomato. We are going to throw in the tomato toward the end. I did not go to culinary school. No, I've learned all of this pretty much. A lot of it I've learned here on the show by experimenting. We often dive into things that I have no idea what I'm doing, and I'm following directions, and then I stop reading at some point and just go off on a tangent. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. But I got my start learning from my dad. He's just a home cook, but he's very adventurous. So I got exposed to a lot of stuff over the years. Turmeric garam masala. Oh, I wonder if my parsley's still good. Being gone for 2 weeks, a bunch of things just kind of got left behind. I was going to throw some parsley stems. Some of the parsley looks good. That one looks particularly good. Let's slide over to the countertop. Let's turn the dal down a little bit. It needs to be simmered until the lentils split and kind of fall apart, because then they will thicken it up. Use up pressure cooker brisket calzone. Simple side dish for a brisket calzone. I think of a calzone as being
mostly a complete meal.
So if I was pressed to come up with a side for it, it would be something. It would be something light and vegetal. So the obvious go-to there is a salad. Because a meat calzone is going to be a lot of starch and meat, obviously. So you've got your protein and you've got your starch covered. So for the plate, a lightly cooked vegetable or a salad, I think, would be the best pairings. I own neither a restaurant nor a food truck. Oop. Curly parts of these parsley stems are resisting me slightly. Glad I remembered this. I would have gotten to the point where I wanted to add the parsley leaves and been like, oh shoot, I could have used those stems. And I would have tossed some stems. Oh yeah, what else are you planning on putting in besides brisket? Dry brisket in a calzone or a pasty, which is basically the same thing. Don't tell the Cornish or the Italian people that I said that, but it's the same thing. I assume you say calzone because you've got a pizza dough for it. Okay. Get those parsley stems in there. They will cook down. They will soften up, and they will be nice and lovely. I don't have any hot pepper in this. That would be a thing that would wake it up a little bit. And I have lots of options. We could go with gochugaru. We could go with ancho. Obviously, basics like cayenne. Ooh, Selena! You're the first one here. Amazing. Can't believe you're the first one here. Thought for sure somebody would have come in by now, but I mean, you can't argue with the alert. Welcome, welcome. That was a little bit of smoked paprika I just threw in. I thought that would help our flavors flavorize. I didn't math it out, but 1 bag of lentils, of which we've used maybe a sixth, was $1 and some change. The amount of rice I used is $1 and some change. The biggest investment here is the fact that I'm using a bunch of whole spices. But I didn't actually math this out. I never do that. Brisket, onion, potato, cheese, pizza dough. Peas. I disagree with Bookwoman on peas. Brisket, onion, potato, and cheese. I think you need... No, you probably don't. Because the onion will give you some moisture as it cooks down. I think a fresh or lightly cooked vegetable side. I don't know what you have on hand. Broccoli would be good. Um, so if I was to math this out, that bunch of parsley was about $1, but I'm only using 2 sprigs. The lentils was about $1, and I'm only using a scoop. Likewise with the ginger, the chili pepper we're using is, how much was this? 20 cents? Less than that. Just a couple of cents for that. The lime was 20 cents. 1 egg, a dozen eggs is around $3. The biggest investment is for sure the spices. And if you're, that's something I know puts some people off of cooking like this, something that's very heavily spiced, is they'll look at the recipe, it'll have all these spices, and then they'll not have those spices, and they'll go and look at the prices of getting all those spices, and then they'll be like, whoa, it's so expensive. But you only use a little bit of each one of them, and if you buy them whole, we're going to go off on a tangent a little bit while this simmers. So like fennel, there are these little seeds. You can buy ground fennel. There's no fennel in a... Do I want to add fennel? I just dropped a couple of them. We had coriander and cumin and black pepper in there. Here's my coriander. I've been using it up. But if you purchase your spices as whole seeds like this, they keep for ages. If you buy the pre-ground stuff, it loses flavor over time. It doesn't go bad. It just kind of loses its oomph. So if you have no spices, your spice rack is just bare bones, basic stuff, and you look into something like this, something like heavily spiced, and try to parse out the math, it will seem very expensive. But the next time you do it, you will have a lot of all of those spices still on hand. Because if you buy them whole, they keep. You only use a little bit of them. You actually use less of them when you buy them whole than if you buy them pre-ground, because they are more potent. Because they start to lose potency as soon as you grind them up. So the ones that are pre-ground, they have been sitting there losing flavor long before you even got them home. So my spice rack, I have it's just behind the camera here. I'm not going to tip it over because the top row doesn't have a backing on it. It'll tip over. My spice rack is very well equipped, but I didn't buy these all at once. I bought them bit by bit by bit by bit. I've had this jar of whole nutmegs. I forgot to change the camera when I slid this guy out. Spice rack. I've had this jar of whole nutmegs, and it says it would have expired 11th January 2020. When I grind these, oh god, it still smells so good. Here, take a sniff. Oh, it still smells so good. And when you grate it up or grind it, it just hits you with this strong potency that the pre-ground stuff just does not have, just cannot live up to. So that's my spiel about spices. You should always, whenever possible, buy whole spices and grind them at home. It can be a little bit fussy, and I understand the temptation to buy pre-ground stuff, but the pre-ground stuff will go off. It will just lose flavor and be bland over time. I mean, the whole stuff will too eventually, but it lasts much longer. It takes so much longer to get there. We're getting low on water. So I hope that wasn't too much of a spiel on spices. I do have paprika. Paprika I buy pre-ground because I can't find unground paprika where I live. But yes, I put a little bit of paprika in here. We're getting very low on the liquid component of this. So I'm going to give us a little taster, both for spices and for doneness of the lentils. I suspect they need more time. Yeah, they're tender, but they're supposed to be fall apart. So we're going to add another dose of water. You could eat that right there, as is. But we want our lentils a little softer than that. Ooh, the flavor is really nice though. I don't think we want to add anything more to it. I think we're going to just simmer this for a little while. Same deal with these cinnamon sticks. Now, I found really cheap cinnamon sticks several years ago, but since I bought them whole, here they are. Since I bought them whole, they have kept really, really well. Dry spices are one of those things where they put an expiration date on there because they got to put something on there for tracking purposes. But the date on the package is not when it goes bad. It's pretty much just a random guess. Where do I shop for the best stuff? Well, I pretty much just go to regular grocery stores. There's 3 local grocery stores, and sometimes I take a little bit longer trips. There's also a bunch of small ones. There's several small markets. There's a couple Asian markets, and there's a couple of Hispanic markets in town. Oh, we have an ad. I will stop talking momentarily. We'll come back after that ad. Because I don't want to be answering questions that we can't all participate in. But yeah, some you can't get whole. That's also true. I'm going to take this opportunity to slice up our jalapeno. Shout out to Penzies. Penzies is a good source for delivery spices. I have quite a few actually Penzi spices here. Let's see. We also wanted a little bit of lime. Which we're going to zest. Is our ad over? Our ad is over. We're going to zest my lime. So where I get my spices is pretty much just local grocery stores. Most of my spices, for example, are whole cumin. Whole cumin from Festival Foods. It's just the local grocery store. Because a lot of these basic ingredients are so well regulated that the store brand is identical. finished product, packaged good, those type of things, there's a big difference between the cheap store brand ones and the big name brands. But for just base ingredients, the store brand stuff is usually identical. Sometimes literally identical, where they're getting it from the same source and just putting it in a different package. Anyways, I'm adding some lime zest. Don't think I'm going to juice the lime today. I think we just want some zest. And I don't think I even want the whole lime. I think we're just going to go for a half. Scrape out the back of the microplane. For some specialty ingredients, I do have to go a little bit farther afield. I don't live too far from Minneapolis, St. Paul area. So when I am in need of some oddity, I can take a day trip, get over there. And the big city has a lot more things. When I needed Century Egg for that stupid project I did with Century Egg that was terrible, that's where I went to get it. I had to take a trip. How much saffron do I have? Not a ton. Not. Ooh, saffron. This much. I don't use saffron very often. I've had this for ages. It's probably lost all of its flavor. Saffron. Saffron is pricey. Saffron is definitely a pricey one, but you don't need much. That's right. You don't. It's one of those ingredients where it is very expensive, but for the things that you need it for, you don't need much. But it still kind of makes you think twice when you look at how expensive it is for how big it is. So many questions. How much saffron do you have, TKL? I should make something with some of that saffron because it has been kind of sitting there and I don't use it much. And it would be a waste to not use it because then eventually it'll just completely go off. This is looking pretty good. We're thickening up a little bit. I think our lentils are still intact, but they look a little bit less perfectly round. The rice is already done. I can't put it in the rice anymore. It's too late. We could have made saffron rice, but we didn't. It's too late. Besides, that's very bougie for my theme of something cheap for tax day. The sliced peppers are going on top. The egg is going to be cooked in the stuff with the lid on. We're going to throw our parsley in before we stir it through before we put the egg in. And the tomato, I think, is going to be a chunky topping. So let's pop back over here. Big knife for my herbs. We got off talking about spices, which can be kind of pricey. I don't think saffron ever falls into the category of what I was talking about, of whole spices that seem expensive, but they last so long that they're not that bad. If you like cilantro, use cilantro here instead of parsley. I don't like cilantro, so we're using parsley. We're going to bring the heat down a little bit as well. We're going to make sure that the cinnamon stick and the bay leaf are over to the side. We're going to crack our egg right in the middle. Who's my favorite celebrity chef? Golly. I don't really follow celebrity chefs. Lid on, let that egg steam. And we can actually start tidying up. We're going to chop up this, we're going to slide over here. We're going to chop up this tomato. Gosh, favorite celebrity chef? I don't know. Who's your favorite celebrity chef? Should have used a bigger knife. Megs, hi. Fairly Critical, hi. Oh, thank you, Fairly Critical. I'm glad someone besides me said it. Anthony Bourdain. Anthony Bourdain was pretty good. I didn't really follow him when he was doing his primary chef thing. I noticed him mostly for his travel show. Pop back over here. You can see that our egg has turned pretty white. We're going to take the heat. No, the egg needs a little bit more time, so I'm going to leave that with the heat on to steam through. I was a big fan of Alton Brown for a long time. He kind of faded into the background, in my perception at least. But I thought when he was his own thing, I thought he did really good work. let's serve our rice. Good Eats was amazing. I learned quite a lot from it. And I was unhappy when he brought it back, but it was on a paid service. Here's our rice. As you can see, even when it was sitting around, it hasn't turned into a big clump. The deep water rice method. What is that? That little gray thing. Gone now. Oh, no, there it is. What is that? Oh, it's a... I think it's a piece of unmilled rice. Oh, it's gone now. The deep water prevents sticking. Aside from a little bit of sticking to the pot because I did not stir it early enough. Okay. Our rice is right. It looks like we're in the plating, transitioning into wrap up, transitioning into tasting phase to me. So it probably means we're going to have a little bit of a short show today. I didn't plan anything out in terms of time. I was just going to wing it and assume that it was going to go normally. My... Okay, let's swing back over to the stove, take a peek. Jiggle, jiggle. Okay, we don't have any jiggle in our egg white, so I am going to call that done. I might have overcooked it slightly. I'd like a runny yolk if possible, but I wasn't really watching it very closely, so we might not have that. But as long as the white's not jiggly, I'm happy to say good enough. We're going to take a scoop of it, lay it down, and then we're going to scoop out that egg and lay it down. Got probably one good serving left there. Could have done a 2-egger on this. For sure. And for our garnishes, sliced jalapeno, chunked tomato, salt. Gordon Ramsay did a series on BBC called Gordon Ramsay's Ultimate Cookery. It was amazing. I have not seen that one. I have seen a little bit of his work on BBC. We're going to salt the tomato, the pepper, and the egg. You paid $20 for this. Well, good news. You could probably make this 2 servings. If you bought all the ingredients new, if you bought all the spices new, it would cost you quite. It would add up. But aside from the spice, and you could short. I used a lot of my own spices, but you could totally shortcut that by just getting a pre-made curry blend. One of these little guys will do all that stuff I did with those spices for a bargain. let's see. It's $1 for rice, $1. That's each two combined. Where I am, you could probably pull this together for $3. Probably. And that would leave you with most of a package of lentils, a ton of rice. You'd have to get a smaller package of eggs, but yeah. I'm gonna go take our quick glamour shots of this beastie over here in the camera land. If you would like to see the glamour shots, they are mostly in my Discord these days because I keep forgetting to use Instagram. And by forgetting, I mean I don't like Instagram. But I should go back and use Instagram a bit more, because it's good for just getting the pictures out there for people to see. Okay. I don't have a command for Discord. We have a link up above. Oh, it was just before you got here, actually. Unable to pin. I will make a new Discord link. I should make a command for that. Unable to pin. Okay, whatever. There you go. Very chill, low impact Discord. I hope that link works. I guess let me know if it doesn't. Let's get to the eating, or the tasting. Okay. We're going to go around the egg first. I want to taste our lentils and our rice, just as they are first. The lentils are still a little... I will not be using my fingers for this one, no. We did that with the Nkate Nkwan, and it was a mess. But that was because we had fufu that's meant to be pulled off and dipped with your hand. This is loose rice. This would be really difficult to eat with my hand. We're using a spoon. Wow, it's very peppery. I did add quite a lot of black pepper. Glad I didn't add any chili pepper. It definitely doesn't need it. It's very piquant. I did take the picture already. The pictures are posted after stream. When I have a chance to sit down with them for at least a few minutes. So it's very piquant from the black pepper. It's got an interesting sort of richness to it. The spices aren't fully combined. I think I wasn't doing much else. This could probably have sat and simmered for another hour. Because even now, you can see our lentils are a little bit intact. They smush, but they didn't just disintegrate. I think this could have simmered for quite a lot longer, and I might actually go back and re-simmer the remainder just to make it completely mushy. But I don't have anything else to do, so it's definitely eatably soft. It's just not completely mush. Let's see if I ruined my yolk. There's a little wet spot in there, but the yolk is a little overdone. But, it's hot. The egg doesn't add much to the flavor. I thought it might, but really, the flavor is the same. The spices dominate. It gives you texture, and obviously it adds some protein to the dish. I think the fresh vegetables, we're going to grab a bit of everybody now. Yes, especially the tomato. Having the jalapeno there be raw means it has that vegetably crisp to it, which the rest of this doesn't have. But then the tomato, while not crisp because it's a tomato, it has that nice softness, and it's this really fresh, juicy flavor comes with it. No, the tomato makes some raw tomato on this is excellent. It's a very, very good counterpoint to what else is going on in there. It's also interesting because it's room temperature, so it's cooling. We're definitely going to use, I didn't put these in here initially because they're kind of irregular pieces, but I'm going to eat them. They're going to throw in there and eat them. Faux show. I do think the lentils could have taken a little bit more time. If you're not doing a show, give the pot of stuff on the stove another half hour of a low simmer. Probably with the lid on so it doesn't completely boil away. Because the lentils are more like the doneness of beans, and dal is supposed to be cooked to the point where they just fall apart. And I did shortcut it a little bit. I'm not sure why. I just felt like I was kind of standing around. Even though we were having really good conversation. I just felt like, I don't know. Would you have minded if we just stayed and chatted and not cooked for the time it took for that to simmer down? I don't know. I'm going to have a slightly early lunch or dinner as a result, which is fine because I had a slightly light lunch. I do love pepper. That is true. Okay. I guess that's all she wrote. You have many questions. Well, I can nibble for a little while and we can chit chat. The pictures are taken. No rush on me. Happy to hang out a little bit longer. If you were just here purely for the cooking, I think we are transitioning out of cooking. Otherwise, we can wrap up. That is also an option. I don't typically sit here and eat because I don't like eating and talking at the same time. That being said, I don't really like eating and talking at the same time. So I think we're just going to call this one a little bit of a shorter show. Any idea on the next stream's menu? Off the top of my head, possibly. I don't have anything set in stone. I would like to use up the... Let's pop up to the main. Let's pop up to the main angle. I would like to use up... Now, I'm not using the bottom part. That is too salty to use. But that white layer is the drippings from my corned beef, which I saved. And I would like to use that up. I've got mushrooms that are going to need... I got the mushrooms a little while back. They need to get used up as well. We had a few casualties from my unexpected absence. So there's things that I just haven't restocked on and things I had to throw away, and a few things now that are just kind of old that I need to use up. On the freezer front, I feel like I've backslid and we're consuming more space in the freezer now. I just vacuum packed and froze up some Orange Ruffy, which normally I would not purchase, but it was in the discount bin, and it would have been a shame for it to be discarded. So I grabbed that. Likewise, this piece of salmon I got out of the discount bin and vacuum packed for storage. Now, none of those are urgent. We could do this guy. This was before I had the vacuum sealer, so he's a little bit freezer burned. We could make a fish dish. We could do I've thought about doing a leftovers day and taking leftovers from previous streams and sort of combining them. I don't know that's going to work out this week. So, short answer, I always have ideas. But until we get there, I don't know what we're going to do. I didn't know I was going to make this until today. Yesterday I had general ideas, but I didn't know what I was doing until we got here today. That's just kind of how I roll. I do want to, you said hash, I do want to return to hash browns and make... I need to practice hash browns. I want to do some hash brown experiments and some practices to see if I can get them right. I would like to work out how to make those nice little patties like you get at a fast food place, as opposed to the loose hash or the waffle iron hash, which are the more easy home methods. I know you can make those little cakes at home. We're going to snooze that ad. But see, it's not just about shaping them. They're not just grated potatoes in a shape. There's something else to them that makes them bind together so that when you cook them, they stay. And I need to do some research on that, and then we need to do some practice on it. 2 parts. I don't know if I suspect that egg is a go-to for making them at home, but if you look at the ingredients in the pre-made ones, they don't have egg, but I suspect you can use potato starch to trick them into binding, which is why I want to do an experiment. Otherwise, I don't know. I got a lot of odds and ends of sort of frozens and dry things, and we're currently tapped out on fresh stuff just because of this weird situation we're in. Oh, Here's something I've been thinking about for a while. We might actually pull this one on Friday just because it would be a good time to do it. I want to make aranciata. So we might do that, and that would be a good way to use up a couple of things. That might be what's on the docket, which is Italian. We're moving to a whole new cuisine. I haven't done like a cuisine time period in a while. I did a sort of Indonesia month and a half, which was loads of fun. Indonesian food was great. I really enjoyed learning all about the interesting combinations. They're so different. Tell you what, I'm going to wrap this up because I want to eat that. I can't talk and eat. I'm going to eat that while it's still warm. We will. I already dropped the Discord link. I will. We can brainstorm. We could, and I haven't used it. We could brainstorm it. The moment I said we're wrapping up, people leave. Like a little number of it is how many people there are. The moment you say, "Oh, we're wrapping up," bam. So I'm gonna wrap this up so that I eat that while it's still hot. Thanks for being here. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for sticking around. Actually, a bunch of new faces. Well, yeah, a bunch of new faces today. That's always exciting. Where are we going to take it? I don't have a lot of cooking stream friends. Let's mute that. Don't have a lot of cooking stream friends. So we're going to drop off on a gaming stream. And I think, since we're wrapping up a little bit early and I will have... Since we're wrapping up a little bit earlier, there are people on who otherwise wouldn't be on. And we're going to go say hi to Jen, who I was actually watching earlier before I came on. So we're just going back to where I was. But I haven't narrated Jen in quite a long while. She's currently playing La Mulana, which she does a lot. So if you like La Mulana, good place for it. Yeah. So I will for sure be back on Friday. Well, I said that last time. Literally our last stream I said, I'll for sure be back on Friday, and then I had to cancel because, well, I've already talked about it. I won't talk about it anymore. So barring circumstances beyond my control, I plan to be back for sure on Friday. As always, if inspiration strikes me between now and then, I will jump in with something. Who knows? We might have inspiration. You never know when inspiration will strike. Until then, thanks for showing up. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out. I don't have a catchy sign-off phrase. I point when the countdown happens. There's the countdown. And then I say, bye. See you next time. And then we push the button.